When you picture what people do with older vans, it's probably something like this.
Hey, thanks for helping me out. Got a backpack. About a size 14, right?
Will they deliver pizza up here?
I hope so.
All right, come on, hop in the van, taking you to Church of Speed. Well, speed. Momentum. Think of the least likely car you'd expect to see on a racetrack. I'll add something. In Japan. Yeah, it's probably this. It's a 1996 Dodge van, and there was a trend that emerged where people would race their Dodge vans at a Bisu circuit, and it grew into an actual series. Yes, it's a real thing. We're going to explain all of that today. But first, we're going to talk to Lewin. Lewin, thank you for coming out to
Sweet man.
on this very frigid morning. Hat, hair in effect. It's 36 degrees out. You have brought a Dajiban, as they're called, correct?
That's what it's called. Yeah, it's literally the literal translation of Dodge van in Japanese. Daji, and then ban for van.
For van. It's like, I love this. You contacted me, and I got so excited because I have never seen another one of these in the United States. And, it's a trend that started in Japan. These guys would bring their motorcycles to the racetrack. Mm-hmm. They transport the bikes in the van. And then someone, of course, said, what if we race the vans? Because that's what car guys do.
That's
right?
exactly what they do. They're like, why don't we take these to the track? And then, of course, it kind of snowballs from there, I could imagine. Why don't we modify these and then modify them more and then...
Right. How can we bring them from handling terrible to handling okay, or maybe just above terrible? So you have customized this van, obviously. This is not a stock 1996 van, because that's the whole point of the Dodge van, Dajiban trend.
Right.
So what have you done to this thing?
Folks, today's video is brought to you by Factor. I love this stuff because it keeps me from doing something that I always do. Forget to eat. And what happens when I forget to eat is I get hungrier and hungrier, and then it takes longer and longer to get the food I want, and then I eat too much or something that's not healthy enough. It is a consistent problem in my life that Factor solves, whether it's these delicious, ready-to-eat meals, never frozen, always fresh, 2 minutes in the microwave. We got pasta with a pork ragu and broccoli. We got garlic butter shrimp and creamed kale in this one, and we got dozens of other options to choose from every week. In between meals, it's always important to have a little snack, a healthy little snack, and that's why these Factor smoothies are where it's at. No added sugars, tons of fiber, tons of protein, super tasty. This one's the strawberry banana that I really like, and we also got tropical fruit, there's mango, there's a bunch of other flavors. These are the jam. I like to pound one right before we do a show, get some energy going, and this stuff is great. You can always set up how you want to receive food, where, when, and how much for how many people. Like I said, it's always fresh, it's never frozen. They have options galore to choose from. Head to factor75.com or hit the link in the video description and use code TST50 for 50% off your first box of Factor. Save time, save money, eat healthy, never look back. Thank you to Factor for sponsoring today's video.
So what have you done to this thing?
Mostly suspension, brakes, wheels and tires, and then just cosmetics. For me, like the stock motor puts out enough power to have fun. So I wanted to make sure that it turns and stops just fine as well.
All right, so in stock form, this is a 1996 Dodge van. They called it like a club van sometimes, right?
Yeah.
It was like a work van or a passenger van, and they were offered it in two sizes. There was a 109-inch wheelbase van,
right,
shorter than an M4, by the way, and then there's this one, which is 127.
Right.
So this is like the long wheelbase. This is the executive one, right?
Right. This is a long wheelbase one, and then in terms of body lanes, they had the short one, the medium one, which is this one, and then they had the maxi, which is the one that has that huge rear overhang.
Right. They'd do a wheelie if you loaded it incorrectly.
Pretty much, yeah.
And then the engines, you could get it with like a V6, like a 3.9 or something. 3.9. And a 5.2, and then this has the 5.9 liter Magnum.
Correct.
So how much power are you making from this beast?
I think stock was right around like 230.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like 230 and like 330 torque, something like that. Have you done anything to the engine, modifications wise?
Just basic maintenance. I think when you get a car like this, you just want to make sure that you get it running right first of all before you start throwing stuff at it.
Yeah, they designed this van in 1971. That was the emergence of this, like the B2500, I think it's called. It's an old design, and it's a unibody on top of a ladder frame. They called it a uniframe because ladder body sounds weird. And so it's supposed to be like lighter and stiffer body, a little lower floor height, but also like have some of the strength of a traditional body on frame van, which you'd get from like an Econoline or something else.
Right.
This is weird. I mean, obviously, like we're in a van that has 6 racing buckets in it and, you know, a racing steering wheel and this amazing extension for the blinker stock. Like when I first looked in here, I thought, what did you add? Like, is this like overdrive or, you know, nitrous? And it's like, no, this is just the extension so you can reach the blinker with the wheel. It's so awesome. There's so many little like knickknacks and jokes and like fun things in here. And I want to talk about all of it. We're going to show you guys all of it, but we're going to do that on the drive. Oh, right. And it's an automatic, of course.
Yes.
Is it the 3-speed or does it have overdrive?
It has overdrive.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Starts up, no problem. Yeah, you can get it with a 3-speed or a 3-speed with overdrive, I believe. Do you ever shift it manually yourself?
You know what? I sometimes keep it in second when I'm coming up in the canyons.
Okay. What gear do you recommend I drive down the canyon in? We're gonna go down first and then up.
Down first? I would say probably drop it into 2.
Okay. Very cool steering wheel. Lewin's daughter did the drawing for the horn button, which is just so cool. And this has definitely been like a family affair. And we're going to talk about that after we feel the power of This doesn't make any sense. And that's my favorite thing about it. Like, I've never sat up so high in a car with such good bolstering. I mean, unless you're driving like a Mercedes 4x4 squared, that might have really good buckets and, you know, riding on portal axles. But like, you know, this is an NRG seat with legit bolstering. And then we've got like a drift-ready wheel. So the steering is not talking to the front wheels. Like, it controls the front wheels. But if the front wheels have anything to say, I'm not feeling it through the steering wheel at all. This is like this is the CEO and the wheels are the employees, and the CEO is like, I don't want you to ever talk back to me. Don't ever let me know what's going on the factory floor. Like, I have no idea how much grip I have in the front or what the lateral load is. And they race these things? Like, they race these wheel to wheel in trains of like 12 at a Bisu circuit.
Right. Like
a real racetrack. That must be terrifying and hilarious. Have you ever tracked this?
I have. I've taken it to local tracks like Adams. It's a small little track just to throw it around, and oh my gosh, that's the funnest part, is that it's not supposed to be there, but you end up having the biggest smile on your face.
Yeah.
It's just,
I mean, driving like a whale or an unexpected thing at a track is so great. I've done it twice. I took my blue Crown Vic to a drift day. I also lifted a Crown Vic and raced it against Matt at a track in Texas.
okay.
I'm getting ready to dive, by the way.
It's thunderous. The side exit exhaust is super cool.
Yeah.
Has a lot of attitude. It's not crazy loud. It's like got a kind of like a groan, and I don't know, it sounds like distant thunder, like really, really distant thunder. It's quieter in here than I was expecting. I thought it was going to be this echo chamber. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the top of the line SLT trim with all the kind of upholstered insides. I think helps with the sound deadening.
Yeah, I mean, you got this woodish interior,
right?
Woodish paneling. All right, talk suspension to me. What have you done, to lower this thing, stiffen it, etc.?
Yeah, so finding information in terms of how to lower these things was definitely a challenge. I mean, no one's pretty much done it. So Up front, I've swapped in some late model Chevy springs, cut them a little bit, and then in the rear had the leaf springs de-arched.
Based on my research, the only shop that had any parts for this type of project was a guy in Japan who created the entire like club.
Right.
And so one, he's 15,000 miles away, and two, one of his websites is down. And I don't think he even makes suspension parts for it. It's all kind of like hand fabricated for each individual customer, right?
Right. Yeah, it's definitely a challenge to get information. I have kind of seen a post or two of what he does. He's actually started making, I think, lowering springs. That'd be super cool if you can connect with him.
Heck yeah!
And just kind of get parts off the shelf for it.
Spread the gospel.
That's right.
You know what? Your steering is pretty quick. Like it's not. We're not doing one of these things like 5 turns lock to lock.
Right.
So that's nice. Oh, this is a little. All right, I'll go extremely slowly. Well, this is probably a good time to talk about the front lip on your van.
That's right.
So where did you get a front lip for this car?
So the beauty of modifying a car like this is that sometimes you get parts that aren't meant for this car. And
Sometimes.
So most of the time. And you get parts that sort of fit-ish.
Yeah.
And they'll make it work. So the front lip's actually off it's for a 89 Chevy Silverado.
Whoa.
Yeah. So and then you kind of just tweak it to fit.
Did it fit, or did you have to like cut it a little bit?
So dimensions wise, it fits pretty well. Yeah, it's just about kind of curving it where it needs to be curved a little bit, and bolting it where it needs to.
One of my favorite things about your van and the other vans that like in Japan is the attention to aero. Like they all have a wing, they all have a front lip, and the fact that you're pulling aero parts from an 89 pickup truck, those things were like literally shaped like cinder blocks.
Right.
And it's like, now this will help the front. And then you have a real wing on the back. Like it's nice. I don't know, it's custom made.
Yeah, so MFR Engineering custom made that duckbill or wicker bill for me. I was looking at what kind of wings they run in Japan. A lot of them don't have wings, but there was one article that I think Sam did where there's a picture of a wing being held on by vice grips.
Yep.
And that was just totally awesome in terms of the ingenuity of like, let's make this work. But I brought this to MFR to see what they can create, and they were kind enough to make me a third brake light delete plate with that wicker bill.
It looked great because it just comes right off of the roof itself.
Yeah.
Instead of having like posts or something like a new Civic Type R. I think it looks really smooth. I mean, the whole thing of these vans, for some reason, when you drop the height the right, or drop the suspension the right amount, and the front lip and the rear lip, like it just works. The thing looks tough and kind of hot rod and kind of silly, and you look at it and you go, is that thing fast? Because it looks fast, and you're like, it's not fast. Like, all right, but it's having a good time.
Right.
Let's see how our get up and go is here. Full throttle. 240 horsepower. Shifts pretty quick. Okay. I mean, I don't know, 0 to 60 in 6 seconds, maybe 7-ish. I wasn't really counting. Oh man, it's got like an attitude.
It's got some scoot to it.
It's got some scoot to it. Well, this thing, the short van version, which was, I thought this was a short one, so I looked up those specs. And that van only weighs 4,000 pounds, which is wild, because again, the M4 in a fully spec'd all-wheel drive M4 will weigh 4,200 pounds about. So this is a little bit longer, but it's not like they've added much. So it's probably like a 4,300 pound van.
Right.
I mean, so the weight distribution is probably like 90-10. the engine's here. Actually, it's here, so it's like a front mid-engine car. It's like an AMG GT. I mean, look, we're not scraping. We're not leaning over nearly as much as I expected. And it's soaking up the bumps okay. Like it's a little like, it's weird. It's not that it's floaty and absorbing all the little changes in the road. Like it kind of bounds over them like a boat, but it's not pogoing either.
Yeah,
it's not bad.
Yeah, I added some KYB heavy duty shocks to make sure kind of keep those in control. So it kind of undulates softly.
Yeah. Let's talk brakes, because your brakes have red calipers, but they're not just red calipers. They say Ferrari on them. Why? How?
That's right. That's so their calipers are off a 360 Modena, and another thing that was inspired by the man himself in Japan, who fits these Ferrari brakes onto this van. So I'm just like, how cool is that, right? And then so was trying to do some research on it. Really couldn't find any information, but I've seen it done via the pictures.
Right.
So decided to take the plunge. So found me a set of the calipers, and was just reaching out to different places to see who would be crazy enough to help me out with the fabrication piece.
So how was the fitment? Was it a bolt-up situation?
Not at all.
Okay, because in that article, the guy said that the Ferrari brakes fit perfectly. That was literally his wording. And I had read an interview with you saying that you had to do a lot of machining. And so I'm wondering, like, was he just sugarcoating things a little bit? So tell me about the fitment.
I'm thinking he probably makes an adapter bracket for it. Because the bolts were literally pointing the wrong way. Like the factory ones, go this way, and the Ferrari ones mount from top. So
that's not gonna work.
Yeah. So I was fortunate enough to come across a place called CP Customs that builds race car parts, and he loved the idea of tackling this on. So he made me a really cool bracket, and all the lines were custom. So
go to drive. Double clutch. Oh, I went to neutral. That's why it's hard. I feel like we are barreling down a road about to take over a town or something like that. Like if we caught up to a Miata, I want to imagine it would just pull out of the way in fear, even though it could easily leave us in the dust. It would absolutely be able to get away from us.
Right.
Like I feel like Bowser in Mario Kart, just like way bigger than the kart in the rest of the field.
That's right. We'll spook them by being rowdy.
Exactly. Hey, it works. It worked for muscle cars for a long time. They weren't fast, couldn't turn, couldn't catch anyone really, but they had a lot of attitude. And that's what this has. I think with the brakes, it's the problem when you ask someone. I think the guy's name is Abe.
Yeah.
The guy in Japan. When you ask someone of his skill level, like he's a fabricator, and you say, "Was that hard to do?" and they say no, it needs an asterisk. Like,
right.
If you ask Arnold Schwarzenegger, "Is that heavy?" he'll say no, but it needs that asterisk. Like, it's not to him. It's not hard to fabricate. What was it about the Dajiban movement that grabbed you?
Yeah, definitely. I think what caught my attention was that at first glance, you're like, this doesn't make sense. But then you sit with it and you just think, but something about it is just so cool. And then as I kind of just got into it myself and kind of was thinking about how I was going to modify this and looking up different parts and that kind of stuff, it kind of just clicked in terms of like, you know what, let's just have fun with it, because like have a sense of humor, because no one should be tossing around a full-size van on a racetrack, first of all. So that's kind of what led me in terms of this, capturing the spirit of this vehicle is let's have fun. It doesn't have to make sense. It can be random. I think just the fact that it's a full-size American van in Japan starts off with a sort of identity crisis already.
Absolutely, yeah.
So just kind of, just jumping on that and just, being unique and, but having fun is the biggest piece of it.
And I love how many little knickknacks or fun things you have. Like your daughter drew the horn button, so you get the kids involved. And like
right.
You said, your son painted the hood and he signed it. And then I look back and the bars, the mounting bars for the seats in the back are wrapped in foam because you don't want to bang your shins on them. But then you have like a sushi print all wrapped around them, and there's like stickers everywhere, and it's like the van itself is fun and silly, but then you can add more little pieces of brightness to it, and you're just like yes-anding to the whole idea of it, and I think that's so cool. I just really like that stuff.
Yeah, Like part of what is important to me are the stories and the people, right? The car itself is cool, but what I love is the stories behind it. So, for example, NRG is a local company, and I'm friends with friends of them, and the idea of when I hit them up, I said, hey, I already have 2 front racing seats. I want to put 4 more in the back. I love that they weren't like, get out of here. They were like, yeah, come on down, let's talk.
That's so good.
And even like finding the correct steering wheel hub. I was like, do you guys have anything that fits a Dodge Ram van? They're like, no, but you're more than welcome to test fit different ones to see which one fits. And this one actually is off a Dodge Caravan. And so that just kind of like figuring out what works.
Yeah.
And having people share that enthusiasm with you and like, hey, you know what? We don't know, but let's give it a shot. That's what I really love about it.
I agree. I think the car world, it's got a lot of people in it with a good sense of humor. The more the merrier, because there's just people that like to make a joke with the car. They like to make people laugh when people see their car. And versus like, you want to show up and look like the hardest, fastest person there. You can do that too. However you want to, exist is fine. So it's fun to have, you present this project to someone and you're like, I know it's silly. And they're like, we love the silly. Like, let's have more of the silly. And they want to help you execute that. I'm such a big fan.
Yeah, even down to the wheels. I remember hitting up James at Wheel Lab and said, hey, Rotiform makes this wheel. You guys are a dealer. Can you guys make it in these specs? And instead of laughing me off, he was like, oh my God, let's go and let's do it, but also let's do it right. Send me, you were going to put on Ferrari brakes. Send me the measurements of those brakes so we make sure that we give you as much lip and clearance as possible. And then Rotiform being a local company, which is totally awesome too. We're gracious enough to help out and take on this project and say like, hey, we'll make these wheels to your spec, and it just really completes the look, and I just love that.
When you told the wheel guys, and you're like, did they say what brakes are on it? And you're like, well, I'm putting Ferrari 360 brakes on it. Was there a pause on the phone, or like, did they go, yeah, great, you'll figure it out?
I think it was a resounding heck yeah, which is the spirit of which kind of what we're looking for.
Thank you so much for bringing this up and letting me drive it.
Like, appreciate it, man.
When you emailed me, I was like, yes, I'm all about that, because going back to what you said a moment ago, like the stories of the cars are usually are what you like about it, and honestly, me too. Like that's why I like this with the one take and the fan cars. Right. Is like there's no press fleet that's gonna have this van. Even if Dodge built their Hellcat van, that's a different attitude. It's from a company.
Right.
There's a lot of like board meetings behind that. What's it gonna say to the audience? What do we need it to do for the company? And this is just you, and you're like, what makes me laugh and happy?
Right.
And like this is what you want to do with cars, and that's great.
Yeah, that's how it should be.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. If you want to read more about the Dodgy Bonds, I put the link in the description to Sam Smith's awesome article in Road and Track. And look for this thing around SoCal. See you later.
Thank you.
This thing's a fucking riot, dude. Dude, so I pull in, hit the lip, and all of a sudden the water's coming down over the top like whoa, it was nuts.
Dude, what brake was that?
No, dude, it wasn't surfing. I was pulling into a car wash in Baja, and I banged the lip on the front, and the water was just like, sick.
Ride the barrel and get pitted, so pitted like that.
And remember, always fight your tickets. Use code TST10 on the Off the Record app, available in the Android and iOS store, or go to offtherecord.com/TST.